Okay, so before we start the video, this is going to be a new series on the channel called Model of the Week, where either y'all recommend a model, I find a model, or I build a model that I want to share with y'all. And basically, we're just going to 3D print, analyze that model, and I guess just enjoy it. And hopefully, it has some use to me and has some use to you. And hopefully, you find the series entertaining. But yeah, at least once a week, every week, I'm going to print a cool model that I think's cool and post it here on YouTube for y'all to enjoy. So today's model I found on Printables, and it's actually the Saturn V rocket. So let's get into the video. So quick crash course on the Saturn V rocket. So at the time of its conception, it was the largest man-made vehicle. It had 5 F1 engines on the first stage that accumulated to about 7.5 million pounds of thrust. Its chief rocket designer was Dr. Werner von Braun, which is the man that you see here on the screen. I believe he was also the chief engineer of the V2 rocket for Nazi Germany. And at the time, when he was at NASA, he served as the director of the Marshall Space Flight Center. And the Saturn V rocket was a very successful vehicle. It landed men on the moon 6 times. I believe it was Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Apollo 11 being that iconic one with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin being the first humans on the moon. And then they had a successful failure with Apollo 13, but they didn't get to land on the moon because of a rupture of the service module oxygen tank. But this has been a remarkable vehicle for the United States, and serves as a symbol, really, of what is possible in the future and what was done with such primitive technology. Okay, so I just want to give a quick shout out to the designers of this model. So I got it from Building Arts, but I believe he reiterated this model from Combrain, not sure how to pronounce that. But yeah, I got it off of Printables. And it shows you all the files here, all their colors that you need to print it on. So everything was very organized, and I was pleased with that. And at the bottom, I believe it shows you the license and what you're allowed to do with this model. But yeah, overall, I'm very pleased with this model. So just wanted to give a shout out to Building Arts. You can find him on Printables. Download this model for yourself. But yeah, let's get to printing, and let's see how this thing turns out. Okay, sorry for the background noise, but here's what I have of the rocket so far. So I have all these little letters here that go in these slots. This part I had to reprint a couple times because I put supports in these letters, and when I took out the supports, it really messed up the slots. Just wanted to make sure everyone fit. So now I'm going to put those in here. These 2 parts slide in together, and then this goes on top of this. So let me glue all these parts together. This is the S1C stage of the Saturn V, and then once this is done, I'll show you the motors, not the motors, the rocket engines, the fins and all of that, and the entire first stage done. Okay, so stage 2 is also 3D printed. This was just 2 parts, which was this black trim and then the whole white piece. So, or actually 3 parts, white, black, and then white up here. But yeah, that's pretty much self-explanatory with this. This stacks up, over here. This stacks up onto the rocket like that. And now I'm gonna work on the fins and stuff, and the top parts are still printing. I have a couple of them right here. But yeah, let's get everything organized and let's keep working on this rocket. So we got most of the first stage done, second stage done. Now let's start working up to the top. Okay, so these are the fin pieces. It comes in 2 parts, 1 part, 2 part. They connect with that little notch there, and when you connect them, it looks like this. And then this connects, let me see if I can do it properly. This goes into the rocket, like that. These silver pieces are the skirts that kind of go around there, and then underneath there will be the engines. So yeah, but this is how the assembly is for the fins. So let me glue all the pieces together, put all the fins on, and then glue the skirts underneath there. The skirts just go right there where that notch is. You can see how it's like kind of indented here. Sorry that the quality is kind of bad, but yeah, it's kind of indented there, so you can see where the notch is and where it's going to be glued. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So this is how it looks with the fins done, and I think it looks pretty good. The fins might be a little bit scratchy. I don't know. I mean, maybe I just need a thinner nozzle. Like, you can see some detail there, but overall, I mean, it does the job. This is just going to be a model in my room. But yeah, I really like this. So I'm waiting for the engines to finish printing before I put on the skirts around the fins, only because I don't want to glue those on right now and then have the weight of the rocket sitting on it. So I'm going to put the engines on first and then put the skirts on to make sure it all fits together. But yeah, so I am going to wait for the next batch of prints to finish, and then we're going to start building upon up on the second stage. Okay, so here you can see we have, sorry for the shaky camera, you can see we have our 5 F1 engines, and there are 5 slots at the bottom of the Saturn V here where the rocket engines are going to go. So we're going to plug each of these like little cross sections in with the cross section dent that matches on the engine. And yeah, so we're going to do that and then let it dry and then put on the skirts. So let me do all of that, and then I'll show you the end result for the entire completed first stage of the Saturn V. Okay, so here is the completed stage of the Saturn V. All the fins are on, skirts are on, and all the engines are glued on. I really like the way this came out. Now, one thing I do want to note is, so here's the second stage. Second stage goes on as so. So since the second, one thing I do want to note is this is going to be a display rocket. So since it's a display rocket, I am going to glue the whole rocket together. I'm not going to have the stages come apart or anything like that. But yeah, so I'm going to glue the second stage on and then start building up from there. So now that you guys know where we are, engines, skirts, fins, letters, first stage, second stage, start building up from there. Okay, so now we got these 4 pieces here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Using these pieces, we're going to connect the next stage of the Saturn V. So let's glue them all together, and we're going to get a piece that looks just like this. So this is the piece that those 4 pieces made, and this is going to go right on top of the rocket right here. We're going to glue that on and then work on the next piece. So let's do that right now. So now that the top part is on, we're going to use one of these little squares to go right up in here, and it's going to act as a connector to this right up there. So let's glue that square in, let's glue the connector to the square, and let's just keep building up. As you can see, we only have a couple pieces left till we're done with the rocket, but the next piece is going to be this black disc here, which this notch will match up with the notch up here, just like that. So we're going to glue it in, and then this notch, sorry, let the camera focus, this notch here is going to match up with this notch here, and then we're going to add that to the top. So let's go ahead and do that and see the result afterwards. So now that we got that part on, this little adapter square is going to go in the square here, and then on top of that, the square also fits underneath the command module. But first we need to address the command module, because if you look over here, there are some empty slots. So these are radiator slots, so we're going to have a radiator here, and a small radiator there, which are these 3 pieces here that fit in there. So I'm going to glue all these pieces together and put this on, and then once all that's done, this pattern here follows the pattern on the launch escape system. And once all that's done, the rocket is complete. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to finish everything and then show you the complete rocket at the end. Okay, so the rocket is now complete. For this being a 3D printed model with really maybe like 20 something parts, maybe, it's actually pretty detailed. I really like the way this entire model came out. So there's going to be a part 2 to this video, and this is going to be a modeling video where I model out the launch umbilical tower for the Saturn V, so I can have it on display here in my room, put some lights on it or something, make it look pretty cool. But very satisfied with this entire model. Once again, I'm going to try to leave the link in the description for the person that or the account that I got this model from. But I also mentioned at the beginning of the video who the creator was, so you can also look up their name on Principles, I believe. So, but yeah, very, very pleased with this, and I'll see you in the next one.